You're listening to the Acadiana's Morning News Podcast, brought to you by LABI and always on KPEL965.com.
Against child abuse, BACA exists with the intent to create a safer environment for abused children. We exist as a body of bikers to empower children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. We stand ready to lend support to our wounded friends by involving them with an established, united organization. We work in conjunction with local and state officials who are already in place to protect children. We desire to send a clear message to all involved with the abused child that this child is part of our organization and that we are prepared to lend our physical and emotional support to them by affiliation and our physical presence. We stand at the ready to shield these children from further abuse. We do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner. However, if circumstances arise such that we are the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. If you'd like to know more about BACA, please visit our website at bacaworld.org or call 1-866-71-ABUSE.
My suit can still make an impression.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill, it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette. Broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at matthewjamestaxpros.com.
This is a Fox News alert. The Trump conviction fuels the Trump campaign. I'm Dave Anthony. The former president is fundraising after being found guilty in New York.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
And sitting again. He's an innocent man targeted politically.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial.
Sentencing set for July 11th, but he's vowing to appeal.
His lawyers say that they have a variety of areas that they can challenge, that the former president could not get a fair trial in Manhattan. They will also likely challenge several of Judge Juan Merchan's rulings in which he excluded some of the witnesses, also some of his jury instructions. They also are going to challenge the fact that the judge did not recuse himself because he donated money to President Biden's campaign in 2016, and his daughter works for a Democratic political consulting firm.
That's Fox's Eric Shawn outside the court. Michael Cohen, whose testimony helped convict his former boss, tells MSNBC.
It's accountability. It's exactly what America needs right now.
The former president was convicted of falsifying records, reimbursing Cohen for payments to keep an alleged affair quiet before the 2016 election. President Biden's campaign said in a statement, nobody is above the law. The president is readying an executive order dealing with the border as Republicans blame him for record illegal immigration.
An executive order that President Biden could sign as early as next week, the Associated Press reports, would trigger an automatic shutdown of the border if illegal crossings hit a daily threshold. The plan would deny entrance to migrants and shut off asylum requests if daily encounters average 4,000 a day over a week.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern, a police officer and a firefighter recovering in Minneapolis among those injured in deadly shootings that left another officer dead.
The city of Minneapolis lost a hero in police officer Jamal Mitchell.
Mayor Jacob Fry. He was ambushed and killed while tending to two other gunshot victims. The shooter was killed. America's listening to Fox News.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. You know, tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Another Biden cabinet member has met with a Chinese counterpart as tensions remain high around Taiwan, which has a new president vowing to keep the island free and democratic and he just met this week with a delegation of American lawmakers pledging their support for Taiwan.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and China's Minister of Defense, Deng Zhen, met on the sidelines of a major defense conference in Singapore, their first face-to-face meeting. A Pentagon spokesman says Austin expressed concern about Chinese military activity near Taiwan and said China should not use the island's elections as a pretext for coercive measures. He also underscored the importance of freedom of navigation in the South China Sea and said the U.S. will continue to operate wherever international law allows. For his part, Dong warned Austin the U.S. should not interfere in China's affairs with Taiwan, which it regards as a renegade province. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
We will soon get a key update to the economy.
8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, going to get that PCE price index, known as the Fed's favorite gauge of inflation. Of course, this is as they determine whether or not they want to cut, raise, or stay neutral on interest rates.
That's Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni. Ahead of that on Wall Street, stock futures are falling after another sell-off. The Dow plunged with 900 points the last 3 days. The NBA Finals are set as it's going to be the Dallas Mavericks against the Minnesota Timberwolves, or rather against the Boston Celtics, after Dallas beat Minnesota in Game 5 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals, 124-103. Luka Doncic scored 20 of his 36 points in the first quarter, leading Dallas to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2011. Game 1 of that series will be June 6th on the ice. The Florida Panthers beat the New York Rangers 3-2 to go up 3-2 in the NHL Eastern Conference Final. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concerns about the cost of the program because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. UL students and faculty were alerted Thursday morning to stay away from the area around Bourgeois Hall after university police found the body of a black man at the bus stop. The scene is clear now, and officials say foul play is not suspected in the man's death. If you live in Lafayette or the unincorporated areas of the parish, LCG will be collecting old electronics and hazardous household waste items tomorrow morning from 8 until noon at Northgate Mall. Remember to bring your ID. For a specific list of what they will accept, you can visit our website or the KPEL app. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth, and while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural, this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. Beloved quarterback Drew Brees will be inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame this year. He led the NFL in passing 7 times and broke the 5,000-yard passing barrier 5 times. He holds the NFL record for highest completion percentage in a season, highest completion percentage in a game, and is tied for the single-game passing touchdown record. The date of Drew Brees' induction into the Hall of Fame has not been announced, but some have suggested a Thursday night in October when Sean Payton returns to the Superdome as the coach of the Denver Broncos. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
This hour of Acadiana's Morning News has been brought to you by Jani King. The King of Clean has been a leader in the cleaning industry on the Gulf Coast for over 35 years. To find out more about their cleaning and disinfecting services, head to their website at janiking.com. The Cajun Heartland State Fair is happening now. Through June 2nd, the fair is celebrating its 36th anniversary, and you can get the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack now. The Mega Pack includes 4 ride wristbands and 4 fair admission vouchers for only $125 each. And you can redeem them on any day of the fair that you choose. Save now when you score the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack. Just $125. Get yours today. You can buy the Mega Pack at the Cajun Dome box office or online at CajunDome.com. LUS presents the Cajun Heartland State Fair now through June 2nd at the Cajun Dome. Experience the wild rides on the Gold Star Midway or great bands nightly at the Coca-Cola Grandstand. Or check out the free family entertainment like Scott's World of Magic. Learn more at CajunDome.com or KPEL965.com and click on the Cajun Dome link. Brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL, where Acadiana comes to talk.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We don't have any accidents on the roadways early this morning. Good news. Current temperature is 70 degrees. Good morning and welcome into Acadiana's Morning News on this Friday, the very last day of May. Can you believe it?
Hooray. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Tracy Wirtz, Mark Pope joining you on this May 31st. It is National Macaroon Day. Ooh, I like some macaroons. Mm-hmm. National Speak in Complete Sentences Day. A lot of folks don't. Let's see. It is also National Smile Day. So make sure you I smile at everybody, and some people look at me weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's free.
Yep.
And hopefully it makes somebody's day.
Well, one of my first jobs out of college was telephone sales. And the guy taught us, he made us have a mirror in front of us.
Yeah.
And he said, smile. Mm-hmm. When you smile, it comes across in your voice.
Yeah.
And I said, wow. And it seemed to have worked.
Yep. Did you sell a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, see? It worked.
Uh-huh.
It is Necrotizing Fasciitis Awareness Day. For all of you heading to the beach, don't go in the water with an open sore. I don't know why they have a day for that, but there you have it. Just some fun stuff over the weekend. Tomorrow is National Play Outside Day. It's National Game Show Day. Mark, what's your favorite game show?
Log on it. Jeopardy?
Me too.
Jeopardy.
I don't mind. Close seconds would probably be Wheel of Fortune and Price is Right.
Yeah, come on. on
down. That's right. So there you go. Over the weekend, not too much on this date in history, even over the weekend. Only a couple of things worth mentioning. On this date in 1790, President George Washington signed into law the first U.S. Copyright Act. And then on this date in 1935, a merger between Fox Film Corporation and 20th Century Pictures. It became 20th Century Fox, 1935. So there you have it. What happened on this date in history? Lots to do today. We'll talk about Household Hazardous Waste Day tomorrow. Greg Gotro is in. Also, Winky Dinky Dog, our strange but true movie edition, coming up after the break at the bottom of the hour. At 7 o'clock, it's Firearms Friday. And then Daniel is in. Daniel Phillips will be in the 8 o'clock hour to talk hurricane season. And sometime, probably several times, Mark, during the morning, we have to talk about the biggest news.
Okay.
The Trump trial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about all that and more. KPEL News Time 6:16.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
I knew when the jurors told the judge yesterday they had reached a verdict in the hush money trial that it was a conviction. Enough time had not passed for it to be a hung jury with a single holdout or so, and I doubted a Manhattan jury was going to fully acquit Donald Trump. What surprised me a bit was that he was guilty on all 34 counts. So for all of the complicated legal arguments and jury instructions, in the end, the jurors used what they said was their common sense. Now, the media have been waiting for this for a long time. I thought it might go until early next week. On MSNBC, they looked so happy, they practically broke out the champagne. And that doesn't mean that Donald Trump will not be the next president of the United States. He can still run. Even if he goes to jail, he can still run. Joe Biden may have a hard time beating him, but some Republicans may be disaffected by this news. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
Fox on Tech.
You might finally soon get your packages drone delivered. The Federal Aviation Administration is granting Amazon approval to fly drones beyond the line of sight, meaning the company can now operate more drones in more places. Amazon had been field testing their service in College Station, Texas, and in a Phoenix suburb, but now federal regulators say Amazon has proven its drones to be capable of safe, autonomous flight, meaning the drones don't need human pilots on the ground, nor will they bump into anything they don't expect, like a construction crane or a new street lamp. Amazon announced their intentions for drone delivery some years ago, promising a service that would see customers receive their orders in 30 minutes or less. Other retailers have partnered up with drone companies since for limited delivery service like Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We don't have any accidents on the roadways early this morning. It is 70 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:22 on this Friday morning. It is May the 31st. Tracy Words, Mark Pope, and being joined this morning by Greg Guidros with Lafayette Consolidated Government. We're going to talk about the Household Hazardous Waste Day. Did I say all of that? But it's not just that, Greg. It's also old electronics.
Well, that's so if it's raining, we won't be able to collect electronics. If electronics get wet, then it turns into a waste product, so it's not able to be recycled.
Okay.
So if it is raining, we won't be able to collect electronics, but we will still be collecting household hazardous materials.
Okay. So, all right. So there's a very specific list, though, of what can and cannot be taken to this particular household Household Hazardous Waste Day. Say that fast 12 times, huh?
Yes, tongue twister. Yeah. So pesticides, herbicides, old paint, old gasoline, old things like that, things that you can't get rid of. We do have a good list on the LCG website. That's LafayetteLA.gov. You can search for Household Hazardous Waste Day. There's actually an icon on the bottom of the homepage right now that you could click on. It has an extensive list of everything that can and cannot be accepted at the event.
So, Greg, talk about the importance of this, because you said that you, quote, can't get rid of, and some folks in their mind said, what do you mean I can't get rid of them? Yeah, I got a big garbage can. I can put them in there. That's a no-no, because it's a hazard to both the environment. If you put chemicals in the landfill, they can potentially leak down into the water table. That's not good. And then, they're a hazard also on the truck, because if you put chemicals in the truck, there's a lot of friction, a lot of pressure. And we actually had an incident where there were chemicals in a yard waste bag, and when they went to push the yard waste into the truck, it bursted some kind of liquid, something like turpentine, and it sprayed in the solid waste worker's face and had to be rushed to the hospital. So there are multiple hazards with putting chemicals into the garbage can. So just address that. You're properly disposing of the chemicals.
That's right. So these chemicals are going to be going to a special facility. Anything that can be reblended will be kind of taken out of the stream, turned into different products. If it's not able to be reblended into some sort of petroleum product, it's going to be disposed of probably by incineration in a safe manner. That way it's non-toxic to anyone involved. You definitely don't want to be putting those in your roadside, curbside bins, because, all those sanitation workers, there's people that are actually doing the job of removing that waste and bringing it to the landfill or bringing it to wherever it needs to go. And we definitely want to make sure that those people are not injured by some of those things.
Also, you have to live in the city of Lafayette or unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish. Licenses are checked.
That's right.
So that means if you live in, let's be specific, if you live in Scott, Karen Crow, Dusson, Youngsville, you're not allowed in. It's just because jurisdiction of LCG is City of Lafayette, unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish.
That's correct.
Okay.
We will be checking IDs, and if you do live in one of the other municipalities, you need to call those municipalities and see when their collection day is going to be.
And some have them set up. Okay, so another thing, commercial quantities. I've been there. I worked with you when you were with Bayou Vermilion District, but you get some companies come in and they upgraded their computers, and they've got 20 computers that they bring in. And I know you're not taking computers, but just address commercial quantities, because this is for residents only. We've had painters bring in 50 gallons of paint on a trailer, 100+ gallon cans of semi-full paint. So address commercial only, and then just address the commercial issue.
Yeah, so this is specifically for residents of the city of Lafayette and unincorporated Lafayette Parish. These are the people who are paying into the garbage services. It's part of your garbage service fees that you pay into monthly. So it's specifically for residents. Any sort of commercial entity, they're welcome to call us at the office, and we can kind of chat with them and kind of guide them to where they can go to get rid of those kind of quantities. But we won't be accepting anything but residential quantities at the event.
8 a.m. till noon at Northgate Mall. Tell us why. A couple of callers asked, why Northgate Mall? It's usually at the Cajun Dome. Tell us why. Tomorrow, Saturday, June 1, 8 a.m. till noon at Northgate Mall. Tell us why Northgate Mall, please.
Yes, so this is a rescheduled event. The original event was a couple weeks ago, and we were in the middle of graduation. So Cajun Dome and Cajun Field were both unavailable at that time. So when we scheduled this event, Northgate Mall was one of the only places that we can find a space to conduct the event. So we're going to be going back to that space because everything's already set up.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's tomorrow. And if you need to know what you can bring and everything you need to know, then go to our website, kpel965.com, search Household Hazardous Waste or Hazardous Waste Day, and it will pull it up. Or as Greg said, go to LafayetteLA.gov. And if it's raining, They won't be accepting electronics, so kind of put that on your radar. KPEL News Time. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
KPEL News Time 628. The Rustic Renegade is your one-stop shop in Lafayette for firearms, concealment furniture, men's grooming products, and our locally roasted coffee.
From the moments that shape our lives to those that shape our days, broadcasters are there, delivering the most trusted news that keeps you informed when it matters. We are your neighbors, a trusted voice, a lifeline. We are broadcasters. Text TV to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Lafayette Consolidated Government has its Household Hazardous Waste Day Saturday, June 1st, 8 a.m. till noon at North Gate Mall. You must live in the city of Lafayette or unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish to properly dispose of paint, poison, insecticide, pesticide, and a whole lot more. Get the complete list of items accepted and not accepted at their website, LafayetteLA.gov. Lafayette Consolidated Government also offering something else, now taking applications for the Youth Advisory Council. This is for youngsters in 9th through 12th grade who reside in Lafayette Parish to learn all about Lafayette Consolidated Government. Deadline to apply is June 15th. There is a very nominal application process, very easy. It includes a letter of reference from a teacher. Get all the details at LafayetteLA.gov.
This is House Call for Health. People with food allergies have some new ways to have an easier experience ordering food. Uber Eats launching new features earlier this week. Restaurants will now be able to let customers know if they can accommodate food allergies, and customers will be able to write their food allergy-related needs in a new special instructions field. There will be a list of common allergens for customers to choose from and to save to their profile. And lastly, depending on whether the restaurant receives calls, customers will be able to contact them directly to disclose their food allergies. The American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology says almost 6% of U.S. adults and children have a food allergy, the most common being shellfish, followed by tree nuts, peanuts, and fish in general. There are no cures for food allergies. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concerns about the cost of the program because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. UL students and faculty were alerted Thursday morning to stay away from the area around Bourgeois Hall after university police found the body of a black man at the bus stop. The scene is clear now, and officials say foul play is not suspected in the man's death. If you live in Lafayette or the unincorporated areas of the parish, LCG will be collecting old electronics and hazardous household waste items tomorrow morning from 8 until noon at Northgate Mall. Remember to bring your ID. For a specific list of what they will accept, you can visit our website or the KPEL app. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth, and while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. Beloved quarterback Drew Brees will be inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame this year. He led the NFL in passing 7 times and broke the 5,000-yard passing barrier 5 times. He holds the NFL record for highest completion percentage in a season, highest completion percentage in a game, and is tied for the single-game passing touchdown record. The date of Drew Brees' induction into the Hall of Fame has not been announced, but some have suggested a Thursday night in October when Sean Payton returns to the Superdome as the coach of the Denver Broncos. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
Pack your bags. We want to send you and a guest to experience the magic of Def Leppard's Summer Stadium Rock Tour this August. We want to fly you and a guest to San Antonio, Texas, where you'll see Def Leppard, Journey, and the Steve Miller Band in concert at the one and only Alamo Dome. What do you need to do? It's simple. Just listen to News Talk 96.5 KPEL weekdays for the codes you'll need to enter. Every day between now and June 7th at 9, 12, and 3 p.m., you're going to get a code. Enter that into the KPEL app, and you've got a chance to win. You'll get 2 tickets to see Def Leppard with Journey and the Steve Miller Band at the Alamo Dome on Friday, August 16th. Round-trip airfare for 2 to San Antonio, a 2-night hotel stay, and $500 spending money. If you don't have the KPEL app, you need to download it immediately. Listen every day at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 3 p.m. for your chance to win tickets to the Summer Stadium Rock Tour with Def Leppard and Journey on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Hey folks, it's Joe, and you have heard me talk several times about my time in the classroom here in Lafayette Parish being a teacher, and throughout those years had come across students who had been experiencing or had experienced homelessness. And I'm here with David Owens of Gifting Grace Project to talk a little bit about the work they do assisting kids in Lafayette who are experiencing the same thing.
That's right, Joe. The Gifting Grace Project is Acadiana's homeless children's outreach, and we are proud to be the outreach for these children in Acadiana, providing them with backpacks with school supplies, hygiene products, meal vouchers, and more. Go to giftinggraceproject.com to help us out and make a difference today. Or you can text GGP to 53555 and get more information that way and make your donation as well.
Folks, there's nothing more important than helping our most vulnerable, our kids. They are the future, and we need to do everything we can for them. And that's why David and I are here today asking you to support Gifting Grace Project.
Get involved today. Thank you.
Party at Rock and Bowl all weekend, starting on Thursday with Mason Trail. Friday, Dustin Saunier and The Wanted. Saturday, The Chiwis plus Few Blue. Sunday, Step Rito and Zydeco Outlaws. Tickets now at rockandbowl.com. God bless you, God love you, and thank God for you.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. Couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident on Westgate Road near its intersection with Dulles. So be careful early this morning if that's the way you get to and from work. Current temperature is 70 degrees.
You're unbelievable.
I thought that was appropriate for Winky Dinky Dog.
Winky is.
I should be upset, but
Yeah, no.
well,
Okay, well, news time is 6:40. What strange but true.
Right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Can you believe this?
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was clever. But, all right, what are we doing today?
He rode a blazing saddles. I don't remember the rest of the song.
Man, that's enough for us.
Actually, Frankie Lane sings the theme song for the movie, and Mel Brooks never told him it was for a comedy.
Blazing
He wanted him
Saddles.
to sing it for real. And Lane was under the impression it was for a dramatic Western.
Oh, wow.
So Mel Brooks just never gave him all the information.
Uh-huh.
Most of the movie A Blazing Saddles was written on the 6th floor of the 666th Fifth Avenue, New York City. You get it, huh?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Well, that's a lot of sixes in a row, right?
Sixes,
Yep.
yeah.
It only cost about $2.5 million to make.
In what year did you have that?
I should have looked that up, but I left my phone at home.
No, that's okay.
But it's about
You're good.
40 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
So we're looking at
80-ish.
Yeah, early 80s.
Yeah.
Like that. It should have starred Richard Pryor. And if so, it would have been his first big movie role. He does have a writing credit in the film, but his addiction issues caused him to lose the role of Sheriff Bart to Cleavon Little.
Wow.
The film had several titles. When Brooks was first approached about the film, it was known as Tex X. The movie would then be changed to
That
Black...
sounds like a porn movie.
I know, right? It then changed to Black Bart.
Okay.
And then possibly even the Purple Sage, for which I have no idea why, before finally becoming Blazing Saddles, which came to Mel Brooks in a shower. That's where all the great ideas come from.
Sure.
Either on the throne or in the shower.
Absolutely.
Sure. The poster for Black Bart, which never became, is posted in the background as Hedley Lamar comes on the Chinese Grauman Theater at the back end of the movie. So they got a little Easter egg on the original title for the movie. Hedley Lamar, which was Harvey Korman. Well, Hedy Lamar, the real person, was not so happy and filed suit.
Really?
Yep. The actress was not happy with the character's name similarity, sued Mel Brooks over the use of her name. The dispute was settled out of court, and Brooks was able to keep the word Hedley in the film. All right, here we go. You were asking about this scene before.
Oh, yeah.
The famous campfire scene. According to the movie's DVD commentary, Blazing Saddles marks the first time a fart recording was ever used in a cinema. Mel Brooks came up with the idea after noticing the cowboys in westerns were always consuming lots of black coffee and baked beans, a deadly combination around the campfire if there ever was one. Those fart noises were made by using a little soap and an old stand of putting one's hand under the armpit.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't fancy. Just do your thing,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's the best
Speaking of
kind.
farts, Governor Lepedemain, who Mel Brooks played in the movie, is named after a famous flatulence artist. He's real.
No, that's
I didn't
strange.
even know there was such a thing.
But true.
Yep. He's named after a 19th century French performer. His real name is Joseph Pujol, whose stage name was Lepedemain. He's famous for his abdominal muscles. His stage name combines the French verb for fart with the name suffix meaning maniac, thus giving us fartomaniac.
Oh, my God.
Supposedly and reportedly historically, he could blow out candles from 2 feet away.
Oh, my God. We have officially devolved.
That's it. Welcome to my mind.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. That scene where Bart draws the gun on himself to get out of a situation actually stemmed from Brooks' childhood.
Okay.
The scene was based upon a childhood incident where Brooks had stolen some gum and a toy water pistol from a drugstore. Upon being caught by the store clerk, Brooks pulled the stolen water pistol out of at the clerk in an attempt to back out of the store.
Oh, my gosh. That's hysterical.
Yeah, some little kid thinking he's funny.
And nowadays, he'd still be in jail.
The studio really, really wanted to cut a lot of scenes from that movie, as you can only suspect. But and it pushed for a lot of. But Brooks only gave them the one scene that they cut, and I'm not going to tell you exactly, but it came from the scene with Lily and Bart when they were together in that dark room. It went dark, And Bart basically says, that's my arm. I'll let you kind of infer the rest.
Yeah, let's just keep.
Yeah.
Before we go too far
Mel
down
Brooks
the rabbit
offered
hole.
John Wayne a role in the film.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
Wayne
I
and
heard
Brooks crossed paths on the Warner Brothers lot, and Wayne remarked to Brooks that he'd heard about the Western parody. Brooks gave Wayne a copy of the script the following day and offered him a role, but Wayne turned it down, saying, "No, I can't do a movie like that, but I'll be the first to see it." And that's my worst John Wayne impression you've ever heard. Gene Wilder agreed to do the movie as a trade-off.
Okay.
He was not the original person cast in the role.
Really?
In a commentary for Spaceballs, Brooks says that Wilder only agreed to do the film if Brooks would consider his idea for a movie. That movie happened to be Young Frankenstein.
Wow.
Right. In fact, he was not the first choice to play Waco Kid. Multiple actors, including Johnny Carson, turned it down. They had hired a guy named Gig Young, but it was clear that his real alcohol problem was too much to play the role of the drinking Waco Kid. On set, he became violently ill and had to be taken to the ER.
Wow.
Right?
A drunk playing a drunk, though, would have been kind of funny.
Exactly. Madeline Kahn, who played Lily Von Stupp.
Yes.
Did you know she received an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress?
Really?
I know. Is that insane? For a complete parody,
Yeah.
she got an Oscar nomination from that film.
Yeah.
Here's one that still makes me uncomfortable. Bart Gilliam, without hesitation, Bart Gilliam had a lot of hesitation about dropping that certain word that's dropped quite often in the movie. He played Lyle, who was Taggart's assistant. He's the tall, skinny guy. He was very uncomfortable about using that certain word referred to Mr. Cleavon Little in Black Bart. To ease tensions, Cleavon pulled Gilliam aside and assured him that it was okay because this whole movie's a big old joke. He says, if I thought you would say that word in real life, I'd kick your ever-loving beep out of here. But he says, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
You know? The movie also almost spawned a TV series. The pilot for Black Bart was filmed in 1975, but was never picked up.
Wow.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Alfred Hitchcock, huge fan of the film.
No kidding.
Yep. And that was the last one. But Brooks has said many a time since then, I could never get away with that movie these days.
No.
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 Just the absolute insulting everybody.
Well, yeah.
I'm talking, anything was up for grabs in that movie.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it's funny that you say that because Jay Leno, I read an article about him, and it doesn't matter how you feel about him one way or the other, but he said, comedy is comedy. He said it stands the test of time. And the thing that he said that ties into that is something can be inappropriate, but if it's inappropriate and funny, then people have a tendency to accept it. But, I don't know that that's always true these days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I am out next week.
Okay.
Heading to the beach. I'm going to be back the following week.
Okay.
And because of Father's Day, we're going to go, and you have to listen to it on the radio. I understand you're going to be here, but we're doing dad jokes.
All right.
I love doing my annual Father's Day dad jokes.
Well,
for my
we
Strange
will
but True.
look forward to that. Winky Dinky Dog, Strange but True, usually every Friday morning about this time on 96.5 KPEL. KPEL News Time is 6:49.
Fox on Faith with Lauren Green.
She can only describe it as a miracle, surviving the October 7th attack, hearing Hamas gunfire break through their front door as they hide in their safe room. Eden Geffner.
There is so many terrorists in the kibbutz, because you can see that people writing in the community WhatsApp group. Now I can hear them screaming, kill the Jews.
28-year-old Eden was born and raised in Kibbutz Chaim in Israel, just 3 miles from the Gaza border. She's now telling her story of survival as part of the Faces of October 7th project, which aims to, quote, humanize the consequences of terrorism and challenge the support that terrorist organizations like Hamas have garnered. Eden laments the protests on college campuses and the rise in anti-Semitism.
I wish that all the hate that they have towards the Jewish people and towards the Israel, they just take it to Hamas, because they say they need to say free Palestine from Hamas, not free Palestine from Israel, because Hamas is holding Palestine, not us.
To hear more, go to Lighthouse Faith Podcast at foxnews.com. For Fox on Faith, Lauren Green, Fox News.
Get your home generator from Prime Energy Solutions and never worry about losing power again. Call them for more info or go to primeenergysolutions.com.
Did you know that 1 in 14 children experience homelessness at some point in time in their life? The Gift and Grace Project, Acadiana's homeless children's outreach, seeks to help them. Go to giftinggraceproject.com to partner with us and donate today.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. Couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Still showing that accident on Dulles near its intersection with Westgate. That could be causing some slowdowns. Hopefully they've moved it off the roadway into that parking lot right there. Current temperature is 70 degrees. KPEL News Time is 6:54 on this Friday, May 31st, the very last day of the month. Tomorrow, of course, we start hurricane season. Coming in later this morning in the 8 o'clock hour, KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips, and we'll talk about hurricane season and also all of these really strong storms, Mark, that have just seemed to pop up and wreak havoc across parts of Louisiana. You said you heard some thunder last night. I was out like a light.
God, it was horrendous.
Yeah. So hopefully we don't have to deal with a whole lot of that over the weekend. As Daniel said, just be weather aware. That's kind of what we need to do. The legislative session, the regular session, must end on Monday, but there's a lot of speculation that it could end as early as today. And I remember the special sessions, both of the special sessions in this year ended early, and it was almost abrupt.
Yeah.
Unexpected. It was like, oh, okay, it's over. And I don't think any of us kind of realized that it was coming. Not that it was a bad thing. It just was rather abrupt. Yesterday, the Senate the House approved the Senate version of the Gator Scholarship Program. Very watered down version. A lot of compromises there. Also, the bill, and you are going to hear about it in the news here in just a few minutes, that requires employers to give 16 and 17-year-olds at least a 20-minute break if they work at least 5 hours. And I discovered this morning that Representative Wilder, who authored the bill, actually owns 19 Smoothie King franchises.
Okay.
And so he has in-depth knowledge, I'm sure, of the red tape that goes along with employers putting essentially minors to work.
Yeah.
One thing that it looks like has really just been tabled, and they aren't going to give it any consideration, at least in the regular session, is the Constitutional Convention. They put the brakes on that.
Well, get your ducks in a row. I think that's what they need to do. Just these generic statements, I don't think flies very well. Government needs to be organized, focused, and get her done.
Yeah, very intentional. And the reason they wanted to pass that bill now is so that any changes could be on the November ballot so that voters could give their approval. It's not out of the question that it could be there, but right now it's not looking likely. We've got a look at local news, business news, Fox News, all on the way. KPEL News Time is 6:57.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Hormel shares are up more than 2.5% after the maker of Skippy, Spam, Dinty Moore, and other brands reported an upbeat quarter and raised its forecast for the year. But Salesforce shares are slumping, down 16%, dragging down Dow futures after pulling back its forecast for business for the year. Salesforce is a business software company and parent of Slack. Its earnings topped expectations. Its business business is growing, though Wall Street was expecting even stronger growth. Cybersecurity company Okta is raising its full-year forecast, and its shares are up nearly 6%. Activist investor Nelson Peltz has sold his entire investment in Walt Disney after losing his attempt to take over seats on the Disney board. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
This is a Fox News alert. What's next for a candidate turned convicted felon? I'm Dave Anthony.
This will increase turnout on our side. He will win decisively. He will become the next president.
House Speaker Mike Johnson among the many Republicans even more energized by former President Trump's conviction, telling Fox this morning.
He's a symbol of fighting back against this government corruption, the deep state, the bureaucracy, and all the rest.
The Biden campaign, on the other hand, is cashing in on this moment. Quote, there's only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box. Donate to our campaign today.
Now, that's Fox's Brooke Sigmund. The Biden campaign also saying that nobody is above the law. We'll hear from the former president in 3 hours. He said after leaving the courtroom hearing he's guilty 34 times to all the charges.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt.
Sentencing set for July 11th, days before he's set to be nominated for president at the Republican convention. But Trump lawyer Todd Blanche says they'll appeal.
We've been saying for over a year that we couldn't get a fair trial in Manhattan. We couldn't get a fair trial with the judge.
Now, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg praised the jury and said,
I did my job. Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor.
Now, the former president was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying records, reimbursing then lawyer Michael Cohen for payments to keep an alleged affair quiet before the 2016 election. Cohen testified for the prosecution and hailed the verdict as what America needs right now. They're mourning a murdered police officer in Minneapolis.
This officer gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Mayor Jacob Fry saying they all lost a hero. Jamal Mitchell ambushed while attending to gunshot victims. The shooter was killed and returned fire. 2 others also died. This is a big deal for Ukraine as Russian forces keep making advances around the city of Kharkiv. Germany today joined the U.S. authorizing Ukraine to use weapons to target Russia. America's listening to Fox News.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. You know, tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concerns about the cost of the program because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth, and while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
The Cajun Heartland State Fair is happening now. Through June 2nd, the fair is celebrating its 36th anniversary, and you can get the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack now. The Mega Pack includes 4 ride wristbands and 4 fair admission vouchers for only $125 each. And you can redeem them on any day of the fair that you choose. Save now when you score the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack. Just $125. Get yours today. You can buy the Mega Pack at the Cajun Dome box office or online at CajunDome.com. LUS presents the Cajun Heartland State Fair now through June 2nd at the Cajun Dome. Experience the wild rides on the Gold Star Midway or great bands nightly at the Coca-Cola Grandstand. Or check out the free family entertainment like Scott's World of Magic. Learn more at CajunDome.com or KPEL965.com and click on the Cajun Dome link. Brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL, where Acadiana comes to talk.
Your KPEL News Update brought to you by Home Furniture Plus Bedding with over 40,000 furniture and mattress choices in stock. Take a look at homefern.com.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay, we have an accident, North University and North Sis Avenue, like SIS. Also, Cameron Street, almost the same place we had it yesterday, between Apollo Road and Jenkins Road in Scott. So be careful in those areas. Current temperature is 71 degrees.
those bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rocking out its flames bursting in and gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Good morning and welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News. It is 7:12. Some light showers around Lafayette, extending from, looks like the very northeastern part of Evangeline Parish down through Karen Crow, kind of diagonally down to New Iberia. Excuse me. Tracy Words, Mark Pope. It is Friday. It is May 31st. And on Fridays, we do Firearm Fridays, welcoming our buddy, Caleb Morse from the Rustic Renegade. And, of course, Firearms Friday brought to you by Cajun Patriots. So okay, because, we're going to talk Trump trial. But right now, this was an interesting segment that Eben Brown did. I love Eben Brown. I just think he's cool. On Fox News called Bullet Points. Let's take a listen.
Bullet Points. I'm Eben Brown. New York City looks to be putting the Second Amendment to the test once again. 53-year-old Francisco Valerio caught two people shoplifting liquor bottles from his liquor store in Queens. After ejecting them, a scuffle ensued, leading to Valerio trying to pistol whip one of the attackers. That's when Valerio's gun went off, striking and wounding one attacker. Those thieves are under arrest. But now Valerio is being charged with both assault and criminal possession of a firearm, even though the prosecutor admits Valerio had a valid concealed carry permit. Valerio's neighbors are rallying to his side, saying New York City continues to be soft on crime. The United Bodegas of America is demanding charges against Valerio be dropped, saying he was defending his business and his employee and that the perpetrators targeted Valerio's store in the past. And those are your bullet points. I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Okay, so Caleb, I realized I didn't turn off your mic, but I know that you know what it said because we listened before. So the store owner had a concealed carry permit. Mm-hmm. He was defending his store, but they want to press charges on him too.
So, and first and foremost, when we look at the concealed carry in New York is what they call a may issue state.
Okay.
Louisiana is a shall issue.
Okay.
So in Louisiana, if you go through the class, you get your training, and you meet all the qualifications, the state shall issue you a permit.
Okay.
You will get a permit. New York, you may get a permit. Once you go through all the training, even before you go through the training, you have to go through a board, a panel with a sheriff of the county you live in, 2 or 3 other people of their appointees, and you must petition them for your right to defend yourself. And you must show that you have a specific reason to defend yourself.
Okay.
So this store owner had done that. Mm-hmm. He went through and he talked about it and used whatever grounds he could to say, I needed this right to defend myself with lethal force. And the state ended up issuing a permit. As he goes through, this was not his first break-in with these individuals, not a first attempted theft or burglary, and then defended his property, mm-hmm. and then defended himself. Mm-hmm. My point of contention on this is The moment you draw a pistol, it's life or death. So if you are trying to defend yourself, defend others, defend property, the moment you draw your pistol, life or death. So he goes through and he was attempting to pistol whip them. That would lead me to believe that they were close proximity.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to draw your pistol in 2 or 3 feet away from somebody is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Because now you're in fist fighting, you're in knife fighting distance, you're in gun grab distance, not in gun fighting distance. And if you're producing your pistol to try to scare someone off, you end up in this kind of position. Mm-hmm. The other thing is it says the pistol went off. So all of this is going up and going against his training. Mm-hmm. Now, it could be just the way that they said it on the bullet points, but that means that his trigger finger was on the trigger, which is not correct. It's supposed to be indexed up and away until you're on target with the intention to shoot, and he had a negligent discharge. So all these things are what New York is using against him. Mm-hmm. States like Louisiana, we would look at this and say, okay, yeah, these things happen, but you were defending yourself, and you have a high chance of winning this case. But New York, where they look down upon you, the only way they want you to defend yourself with a firearm is if you are a judge or a district attorney or from a DA's office or a post-certified law enforcement officer. Those are the people they want to have firearms, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is a second-class citizen, according to the state of New
That's what
York.
I was going to say. They have a whole different tier of people that.
Which is disheartening and just, it really makes you reassess where you live. Thank God we live in a state that looks at us as equals. When this goes to court, he's probably going to lose in New York.
Really?
Historically, he'll lose, and he'll have to go through, and he'll have to appeal, and he'll have to fight it. When you look at how New York, how their judges tend to sway, how they stack people against you, that's what I see happening. And they are historically anti-firearm, anti-self-defense. They would have probably rather this man be beaten almost to death in his own shop and lay there waiting for the police to show up with their firearms an hour and a half later.
Yeah, the law's on the side of the criminal.
Yep.
Not the law-abiding citizen. Now, you sent us something that I thought was interesting too. Conceal carry corner, things to not do concealed carrying.
And one of those is drawing your firearm outside or inside of what I call your safety bubble. So it's things not to do while concealed carrying, things to pay attention to, things to watch out for. And we talk about this in our concealed carry class. They have a rule. It's called the Tueller Rule. It says that the average assailant can cover about 21 feet in a second and a half, 1.5 seconds. The average person's draw time is 2 to 4 seconds.
Really?
So when you start looking at a safety bubble, like the distance we're all apart, we'll call this an average of 4 feet right here.
Uh-huh.
Most people would feel safe in this kind of distance, and they would assume or believe they could draw a firearm. 4 feet is not much distance.
No, right.
The average person, everyone in here I reach is about 3.5 feet. And if we lean, we can reach that 4-foot mark.
Right.
So that's no movement required besides just raising an arm. So we look at where do you draw your safety bubble? How often do you practice your draw? The more you practice, the more you practice, the smaller your bubble can get. In reality, the bigger your bubble gets because you realize your pitfalls. So I don't start even considering other means of escape and everything else. Well, I start considering those far before at the 100-yard, 100-foot range. Then I start looking at other avenues, other things to do.
Okay, so you have a lot of knowledge, experience. Mm-hmm. You train. Mm-hmm. I don't recall the details. It seems like I recall they were trying to get out of the store with some
Correct.
wine, some
Wine,
alcoholic
liquor.
beverages. Okay, so let us assume that Caleb Morris is now the firearms monarch. And you have the ruling. What would your ruling be? This guy used poor judgment. Mm-hmm. So what would your ruling be? Would it be to suspend his concealed carry license? Would it be to put him on probation, require training, fine him? What would you do as the firearm king?
Well, it depends on the totality of circumstance. So let's say the store owner was in the entrance of the building, and they were trying to push past him with this liquor, okay? So at that point, if they're trying to push past him, they make contact on him, they're assaulting him, he's trying to get his goods. Depending on the dollar amount of the goods, man, if they got a bottle of Blanton's, that's a little harder to find now, right? So it goes up from misdemeanor to felony. If it's a felony, at that point, man, he's doing the right thing. If it's a misdemeanor and he's drawing his pistol and he's just trying to deter these people, he has very, very poor training. Yeah. And at that point, we could look at a reassessment of the training he's gone through, a reassessment of the instructor that did his training, that kind of thing. Because that's what we focus on. In Louisiana, the law says that you can defend yourself with force up to and including lethal force for self-defense. Self-defense. Or to prevent the unlawful and forcibly violent felony. Not misdemeanor and violent felony. So self-defense, prevention of violent felony. And that includes defense of others as well, right? So do I want to sit here and tell you that, look, defending your property is not something you should do? No, but if someone is stealing a TV, if someone's stealing your favorite cowboy boots, it's hard to justify taking their life over a property like that. I like to operate in a more black and white area. The law gives us a lot of gray because it wants us to have the ability to defend ourselves in almost every situation. But defending yourself against someone stealing minuscule property, it's really hard to justify taking their life.
Would seem like a better defense for this store owner, and any store owner for that matter, would be cameras.
Cameras help, but even then,
Yeah.
you don't always catch people with
Well,
cameras.
no, you don't always. But like you said, are you going to risk your life for a couple of bottles of wine? I
Well,
don't
and it
know.
sounds, you mentioned that people had stolen
Multiple
from him
times.
before, and it may just be he was just fed up.
Well, and that's it.
You know?
As a store owner, people try.
Yeah.
People try to break in. They try to steal from anywhere and everywhere.
Yep.
And we all reach a frustration point. We all reach a breaking point. And it's hard to not get jaded and look at society and say, look, there are some scumbags out there. There are. There are bad people. And we need good people to stand up to them. At the same breath, you can't treat everybody like that.
Right.
Now, if these people had broken in or tried to steal from him multiple times, and I'm sure he has cameras, if this is the same group of guys and this is the third time that they're breaking in, man, it'd be hard not to break their legs. I'm going to be honest with
Well,
you.
no, because, and if it was, and he has reported it, and they still haven't, there's a lot of things we could speculate on, but given the fact that he was, in fact, robbed before, I'd have just been fed up. Not that I'd necessarily acted that way or reacted that way, but, reasonable people understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then, it depends on how they responded. Years ago, we had a young man come into the shop that it was trying to steal a box of ammunition. And when I confronted him about it, he made a lot of sound, a lot of noise, and he threatened me. I guess he thought that words hurt me more than other things. And, he said he would flash out, and I still have no clue what flash out meant.
I don't know what that means.
And I looked at him, and I said, look, man, you can walk away right now. You can leave this building, or this will get worse.
And one more thing to say. I know we probably need a break, but as we close out this segment, here is a thought. One thing that we've not talked about that Eben Brown had as part of his story, i.e. bullet points. New York soft on crime.
Very
They're losing
soft on
residents. They're losing merchants, and the whole state of New York. We haven't even talked about the Trump situation this morning with the New York judicial system. New York has heap big problems.
Oh, they've made a hornet's nest.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that coming up in the back half of the hour. But I do want, after the break, if you would, to talk about the Supreme Court and their decision to side with the NRA in a free speech ruling. So we'll tell you what that's about coming up. KPEL News Time 724.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. Couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Still showing that accident on Cameron Street. That's going to be almost exactly halfway between Apollo Road and Jenkins. Also, North University at North Sis Avenue in Karen Crow. Some light rain in and around the area, so be careful. Roads might be a little slick this morning. Current temperature 71 degrees. KPEL News time is 7:28. On this Friday morning, that means Firearms Friday with our friend Caleb Morse from Rustic Renegade, and it's brought to you by Cajun Patriots, Cajun-Patriots.com for gun oil, things to keep your gun working.
Yeah, all your firearm needs and everything else. And then they have their fishing lubricant, their real lubricant, which I tried. I tried over the Labor Day weekend.
You did?
I did.
Okay, and?
So, all right, you're going to laugh. I had to get my 14-year-old son, because I had a brand new reel that I've owned, rod and reel that I've owned for probably 3.5, 4 years that I never even put a bait on. So my 14-year-old son had to show me how to get this line ready, how to do all that, how to lubricate the reel. And look, like I said, it was brand new.
Uh-huh.
Man, it was slick.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the fish. He can say what he wants. My son was out there. I'd fished earlier. He caught probably, I don't know weight of it, a 3-pound, maybe a 4-pound bass, largemouth at Falls River. And I was like, Dad, come reel it in. And I'm like, man, it's not fighting, it's not doing much. And then out comes this fish the size of, almost my forearm. And I was like, what in the world? So I was very, very impressed, not only with his fishing skills, but with Cajun Patriots, their real lubricants. So
Yeah.
first
I'm
time
excited.
using it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've been doing the whole move thing. And so soon, I'm going to be out there, and it's ready. It's sitting there ready for me to test
Don't let
it
it
all
sit
out.
there for 3 years like I did mine.
No, well, I mean the lubricant, because that's one of the things that I have trouble with is, I need to do that. I just
Gotta
need
maintain
to do that.
equipment.
You know what? We do need to take a break for news right now. We'll come back, maybe talk about the NRA and that ruling, but we also will talk about the Trump trial, because I know, Caleb, you have a lot to say.
I do.
KPEL News time is 7:30.
Higher.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concerns about the cost of the program, because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. UL students and faculty were alerted Thursday morning to stay away from the area around Bourgeois Hall after university police found the body of a black man at the bus stop. The scene is clear now, and officials say foul play is not suspected in the man's death. If you live in Lafayette or the unincorporated areas of the parish, LCG will be collecting old electronics and hazardous household waste items tomorrow morning from 8 until noon at Northgate Mall. Remember to bring your ID. For a specific list of what they will accept, you can visit our website or the KPEL app. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth. And while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. Beloved quarterback Drew Brees will be inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame this year. He led the NFL in passing 7 times and broke the 5,000-yard passing barrier 5 times. He holds the NFL record for highest completion percentage in a season, highest completion percentage in a game, and is tied for the single-game passing touchdown record. The date of Drew Brees' induction into the Hall of Fame has not been announced, but some have suggested a Thursday night in October when Sean Payton returns to the Superdome as the coach of the Denver Broncos. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Work.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. Couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have an accident at Roselawn Boulevard and Bayou Boulevard. Also showing an accident with injuries. Chemin Metairie in Youngsville. That is just west of its intersection with South La Riviere. Again, that is an accident with injuries, so you may find some slowdowns there. And still showing that accident, 6400 block of Cameron Street. That's between Apollo and Jenkins. Be careful in all those areas this morning as you head out. Current temperature is 71 degrees.
A Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
KPEL News Time is 7:39. On this Friday morning, happy Friday and happy Firearms Friday with our friend Kayla Morse from Cajun Patriots. And of course, Firearms Friday brought to you in part by Cajun. No, he's
all
a
right, you're
rustic
there.
renegade. It's brought to you in part by Cajun Patriots. Woo!
I was letting you run with it. You were there. You were all right. It's Friday. Look, it's almost over.
Boy, no kidding, right? No kidding.
It's been a week already.
And you know, Bernie and I were talking. It's been a short week, but it's just felt like it dragged.
Well, that's
this
the
week.
problem with that short week. You know, we had Memorial Day, so you got a little bit of respite, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah. I mean, and I like what I do, but you know, still, it's nice to be able to stay at home and just have fun. Okay, so before we get to talking Trump, you sent us an article. Supreme Court sides with NRA in free speech ruling that curbs government pressure campaigns. What's that about?
So what happened is the NRA is based out of New York, right? That's where their main office is in New York City. They went through and they were having difficulty.
Talk about in the den of vipers. Huh?
Oh, yeah, horrible spot. They were having difficulty because insurance companies weren't wanting to do business with them anymore in New York. Other corporations weren't wanting to do like credit card processing and all this in New York. And what they found out was that someone from the governor's office, so the governor of the state of New York,
right,
was pretty much using political, well, not pretty much, they were using political pressure to cause businesses not to do business with the NRA because they went against the governor's political agenda. Here in Louisiana, we have laws that say you must do business a certain way, and it cannot violate the Constitution, the state Constitution. So you cannot just not do business with somebody because they're pro 2A or anti 2A. You cannot violate the state constitution.
Right.
New York doesn't have that kind of law. So the Supreme Court went through, they did all this investigation dating back to 2014, and they found that since 2014, the governor's office and the mayor's office of New York were inhibiting and prohibiting businesses from doing business with the NRA.
Really?
So they sided in favor with the NRA, and they said, no, the state cannot do this. I believe the state's going to have to do some back pay. There is a judgment against the state for this, and there will be repercussions. So I'm curious as to how this moves forward and what this does, because this is the first time that anyone has sided with a Second Amendment advocate group in regards to the First Amendment.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I think we all need to realize that this really benefits us all on our First Amendment rights, because just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean that you have to do business with or not have to do business with.
Right.
It's your choice who you want to do business with. And the government shouldn't be able to apply pressure to you to require you or force you or restrict you to do business.
Wow. That's pretty profound. And the fact that it all happened in New York.
That's what I think is perfect.
Yeah. No, that's just awesome. Now, speaking of New York, we have to talk about the Trump trial. I have to tell you, when I found out about it yesterday, I was traveling, and my text messages go off. And my phone, I have Apple CarPlay, you know, so I just hit the button. And it plays, and it's Mark saying, Trump was found guilty on all 34 charges. And like, I'm driving, and whoever saw my face may have been passing me. I was just agape, you know? And you said you guys did implicit bias and talked through all that stuff. And I'm sure that you have an opinion on all of this.
And look, first and foremost, I'm confused as to how a state level court is seeing a federal level case when a federal court said this is not worth our time, not worth seeing. It's not a big deal. This is not worth the court's effort. And then you go into the judge that's overseeing this, or the judge that oversaw this case is also overseeing another Trump case. And then he's also involved with the Banner case, which involves Trump as well. But yet, out of all the people, the 20 judges that were on this rotation, this judge wasn't listed on the rotation. Look, I believe in probability. I also believe in plausibility. Could this have happened in circumstance? It could have. Did it? I doubt it.
Yeah.
And when we look in the past, President Clinton, I don't remember the woman's name, but he paid out $800,000 in hush money. But he used his campaign funds, which is illegal in itself.
Right.
So this opens up a ton of different things. I also think that the state of New York they're shooting themselves in the foot, because, look, if I'm a business owner in the state of New York, I'm going to be concerned about anything and everything right now anyway. But what's funny is that the politicians and the judges come out and said, well, this is just Trump. We're not going to do this to everybody, just him. And how is that not political targeting?
And how do you stand in front of an appellate court and argue that? I mean, really, we just did it because it was him.
Yep, just the one person. That's all we wanted to damage.
And look, you're correct, Caleb, in that there were. Look, I'm not trying to play a lawyer. Here's my take. Let me give you my take before I even say anything. I don't know. And what's going to happen with the appellate court and the appeals process, once again, I don't know. All the legal experts say it's a no-brainer. It will be overturned with a snap of a finger. But the sentencing happens July 11th. What is that, 3 days before Trump is, solidified?
Before the actual...
for the Republican National
Convention. So I don't know what's going to happen. But basically, there were 3 charges, and nothing was clear. This was, it seemed, they made it up as they went under this judge, New York judge. Violation of tax law, and New York tax law. That's issue number 1. Number 2, filing false documents. And the third charge that you could have used, violations of election law. That's what you were talking about. The FEC heard it. A four-judge panel heard it. 2 ruled, yes, let's hear it. 2 ruled, no, nothing here. We're not going to hear it. So that's the crux of that. The FEC did hear it about this violation and said, no, there is no violation. He denied this, I forget Mr. Smith's first name. He was chair of the FEC, and this judge denied him testimony. He can come on and talk about the general duties of the FEC and talk about some definitions, but he cannot talk specifically about this case. Crazy.
And what got me is I'm looking through some of the charges. 11 of these 34 charges are for him using a Sharpie to sign a check.
Are you kidding me?
No. I wish it was a joke.
Unbelievable.
Like, I sat down, I was up till midnight trying to figure this out. 11 of the charges are for signing a check with a Sharpie. Like, how I don't get that.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. At what point, like, you're reaching? And look, do I think that he's done things illegal?
Right.
I think everyone has done things illegal. I'm going to tell you that right now. I
Sure.
think every human being that's out there, if you've sped, you broke the law. I speed. Don't look for me laughing. So today I'm in a blue Toyota Corolla.
There you go.
But look, we all have broken the law, right? At some point in our life, either on accident or on purpose. Does that change anything? I don't think so. I think that this is pivotal because this is the first time in American history we have a former president who is running for another term in office that is now a convicted felon.
Yeah. And it's difficult. Again, if we live in a world of reasonable people, which that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day, and you look at the facts, not even the facts of the case, the facts of how all this unfolded. Okay. I agree with you. Is he the person that I want as my moral compass? No. I mean, let's just call it what it is,
Wait,
right?
Who Trump.
Okay. Do I think that maybe a lot of this was self-inflicted in terms of the things he did? Probably. But that said, I'm aggravated as a U.S. citizen that it truly was weaponized. And why do I say that? I say that because the statute of limitations on a lot of these things was supposed to be up.
They were up, and they changed the law to allow just for this one specific case.
Yep.
So, and here's something that we talked about last night on Implicit, and we're going to go into detail on it Saturday. Another case that was just heard just before this ruling came out, I think it was 2 days ago, said that if a president was convicted of a felony, they no longer had Secret Service protection. And then here we are a few days later, and a president, first time ever, was convicted of a felony.
Does he lose his secrets?
According to what they just said, he will.
Wow.
So all of a sudden now, and look, I might be a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but all of a sudden now it looks like someone's trying to create a whirlwind.
Oh, yeah.
But is a conviction having gone through the appeals process? That is the question. Even though he's convicted, even though he will be sentenced, there is still an appeal.
Yeah,
so
but
is
he has
that
no right to
conviction
appeal.
Final? No.
And that's my thing is I didn't read enough of that case because I can't find enough information about it to say when it goes through. It just says upon conviction of a felony.
Right.
So if it means upon conviction of felony, even if he has to go through the appeals and everything else, he's already been convicted. So until it overturns, he would lose his Secret Service.
And you guys are correct. All three of these are misdemeanors that had expired, whereby, as Tracy said, the what do you call the
statute of limitations?
Thank you. Statute of limitations had, and so here was the logic and the justification behind this case. You can find any one of these three items, and it was used to influence the election. Violation of tax law, filing false documents, violation of election law. That's how they wiggle this into place. And it's making it up as it goes. It's a violation of the 7th Amendment to the Constitution. There was no concrete charge. We still don't know what the concrete charge is.
No, and if you talk to anyone on the prosecution with it, they're just it'll be a litany of more things that come out, and it'll be a bunch of legalese, but no one will ever say, well, this is what we went after him for.
Right.
No, right. Yeah, and that's, yes.
They're just going to say we got him.
We went after him to destroy him.
That's all. Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
It was a political assassination that looks like it could be a lot of other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and you brought up something good. We're just going to go all the way up to the top of the hour here, but you did bring up something that I know I had thought about as well. Is how will Trump supporters, or more concerningly, Trump posers, react to this, and what is it going to do going forward?
You know, and that's my fear. I know that a lot of the people that I associate with, a lot of the conservatives that I hang out with on a regular basis, communicate with, we're disheartened, we're upset, but we're not going to go out and burn buildings down.
Right.
No.
And my fear is that we're going to have false riots, false protests, and violent attacks, and that all of a sudden everyone's going to get painted as those and them, right? Either for us or against us, and that's what they're going to start trying to paint people as. And you're going to see there's already a big division in our country, which hurts my heart. And you're going to see people try to make that division even broader.
Yeah.
So.
And so just some nuts and bolts. He's got 30 days to file the appeal, and his sentencing is July the 11th. And he didn't have to go to jail right after his conviction because they said they were for nonviolent crimes.
Yeah.
Each of the counts
could be a maximum of 4
years, but
he's never had any prior convictions or anything else, so the chances of jail time are minimal.
And and there's a cap on the
number of
it's like 10 years, I think, is the cap, that if he were to be sentenced to jail time, that there would be that cap. There's on just the bottom line for me is that I'm going to use a word that's been bandied about social media, which is sham.
Mm-hmm.
It was that. And for people to not look at how it got to the court to begin with, and then to see that process go through, that judicial process go through, and not to be blatantly obvious that this was a setup. I would like for somebody to explain that to me.
It's so deep. You mentioned one of the violations, or how many? 11 of the violations were for signing a document with a Sharpie. It's probably something silly in the law that says shall be signed by a permanent ballpoint pen or something along those lines.
It's got to be something ridiculous.
And he used a Sharpie, and so that's a violation of New York law. Give me a break. It's obviously a hit job.
Yeah.
It's disheartening. I mean,
without a doubt,
the way that our nation looks now to the rest of the world, because you don't hear about this in a democratic state. You don't hear about this in a republic,
right?
And it's just disheartening.
Yep.
Caleb, thank you so much. Caleb Morse with Rustic Renegade for Firearms Friday, brought to you in part by Cajun Patriots. Always a fascinating conversation. KPEL News Time is 7:54.
This Fox Business Report is brought to you by Walter Campbell and Deborah Pierce of Keller Williams Realty. For all of your commercial property needs, reach out to Walter and Deborah today.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street's focus today turns to inflation, the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Index for April. Shoppers are still buying at Costco. Its sales at existing stores rose 6% in the recent quarter, and its earnings topped forecasts. Though its revenue, the money it brings in, was disappointing, and the stock's losing ground. Costco did not reveal plans to raise its membership fee. It hasn't raised the price of a membership since 2017. Cybersecurity company Zscaler's quarter was better than expected. The stock's up more than 15%. And a major hedge fund could be going public next year. The Wall Street Journal says Bill Ackman's Pershing Square is selling a stake in the investment firm. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
This is a Fox News alert. We'll hear from the former president turned convicted felon in 2 hours. I'm Dave Anthony. He just posted on Truth Social, "It can happen to me." It could happen to you. Again, calling the case a witch hunt, and the former president's supporters agree.
They did it to Jesus Christ and they crucified him. So it's the same thing a couple of thousand years later.
Republicans in Congress also denouncing the guilty verdict at the Trump trial in New York. House Speaker Mike Johnson tells Fox.
This is a purely political exercise, not a legal one. And everybody knows that. They know intuitively that it's wrong, and the people are outraged.
Trump lawyer Todd Blanche tells Fox they will appeal.
You're talking about a man that's been indicted 4 times in 1 year in four different jurisdictions. 4 different jurisdictions, running for president and winning, and we're going to fight.
Sentencing is set for July 11th, days before Republicans nominate former President Trump for a Biden 2024 rematch. Now, the president's campaign put out a statement that no one is above law, and that former President Trump mistakenly believed there would be no consequences for breaking the law for his personal gain. Ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, who was the prosecution's star witness, tells MSNBC,
"It's accountability. It's exactly what America needs right now."
The charges against the former president centered around reimbursements made to Cohen for 2016 payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels to stay quiet about an alleged affair. As for Daniels, her husband told CNN she is still processing the news of the verdict and feels a little vindicated over the outcome.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. We just got an update to the economy. A gauge of inflation the Federal Reserve tracks closely as it keeps pausing the plan to cut interest rates. The personal consumption expenditures rose as expected 0.3% in April.
Year over year, it came in. This is the headline PCE price index, 2.7%, and that's in line with expectations and the same exact reading that we had a month ago.
Fox Business Network, Cheryl Casoni. On Wall Street, stock futures are now rising. America's listening to Fox News.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. Tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concerns about the cost of the program because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth. And while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
The Cajun Heartland State Fair is happening now. Through June 2nd, the fair is celebrating its 36th anniversary, and you can get the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack now. The Mega Pack includes 4 ride wristbands and 4 fair admission vouchers for only $125 each. And you can redeem them on any day of the fair that you choose. Save now when you score the News Talk 96.5 KPEL Mega Pack. Just $125. Get yours today. You can buy the Mega Pack at the Cajun Dome box office or online at CajunDome.com. LUS presents the Cajun Heartland State Fair now through June 2nd at the Cajun Dome. Experience the wild rides on the Gold Star Midway or great bands nightly at the Coca-Cola Grandstand. Or check out the free family entertainment like Scott's World of Magic. Learn more at CajunDome.com or KPEL965.com and click on the Cajun Dome link. Brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL, where Acadiana comes to talk.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Got an accident Camellia Boulevard near Settlers Trace. That is an accident with injuries, so it may be really clogging things up. Be careful in that area. Northeast Evangeline Thruway at northeast of Bellot. And on Chemin-Metairie Parkway, we have another accident, that one with injuries. That is Chemin-Metairie just west of South La Riviere Road. And that, of course, is in Youngsville. Be careful in all those areas. The sun is coming up. We had a few showers earlier this morning. Right now, it's 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 8:10 on this Friday morning. It is May the 31st, coming off after a day when I think it's weird, Mark, because some folks were really shocked by the guilty verdict that came down yesterday. Others said, we expected it. A lot of app chatter. Thank you so much for sending us these messages. One of them from Nate said, you guys blame the judge, but it was the jury that found him guilty. That's a fair point. Also, Andrea from New Iberia has been very active on the app this morning. Thank you for that. She said, and using a Sharpie, they really wasted taxpayer money for that. Come on, the rest of the world is laughing and sees how weak the USA is. And what she's referring to, if you missed it last hour, was Caleb said that he kind of dived into the counts that Trump was found guilty of. And he said he saw that 11 of them were because Trump used a Sharpie to sign checks. I think I need to dive a little bit deeper into that to find out exactly what it is. But Caleb's a sharp cookie. So,
yeah.
And Andrea writes, first off, poor Trump. This was politically enticed, and I did not think the verdict would be anything other than guilty because he was tried in New York City, which speaks for itself. As a Trump supporter since the beginning of him running for presidency, this only makes me want to rally up more people to vote for him. I think it's a laughingstock to the rest of the world that he was even brought to court over some of this stuff. It's nobody's business who he slept with. We all have skeletons in our closet and don't want some of our past exposed. What's the big deal? And then Jason from Judice wrote in, jurors worried about doxing. And at first I thought, did he spell that word wrong? It's DOXING. Well, no. Jason is just a lot more of a wordsmith than I am, because doxing is the act of revealing personal information about someone online without their consent. And if I'm reading that correctly, then what he's saying is he feels like, had they not, that probably the liberals would have dived into who they are and used that information to publish online. Mm-hmm. And that could probably be said for both sides. But the other thing is, maybe there's personal information about Trump that we don't know that may have been revealed in the trial that the jurors, that Jason is concerned the jurors will share online.
And look, those are all good comments. We have a thinking audience, but one of the first ones I'm going to respond to said, come on, was it really the judge? It was the jurors that made the decision. The judge is the leader of the pack. The judge allows and disallows testimony. He disallowed Mr. Smith, who was a former chairman of the FEC, Federal Election Commission, and he wanted to talk about this case against Trump as violating federal election laws as being bogus. He is certainly an expert, is Mr. Smith, the former head of FEC, but he was disallowed from testimony. No, you might confuse the jurors. Well, wow. So this judge is largely he's largely to blame for the outcome. I know the jurors make the judge doesn't get a vote, but the judge he guides the whole process.
Now, I will tell you, too, that according, and I need to find the exact information, there will be a press conference today. Trump is expected to hold that press conference at 11:30. I believe that's Eastern time. I'm trying to find the email where they sent us that information, but there will be a press conference today. And so it'll be interesting to see what he says. He said something yesterday, and when I listened to the clip that they played from him, he obviously, and rightfully so, was really angry at the situation, even though he had said the day before that he would not be surprised. He said, what was his comment? I think Mother Teresa would even be found guilty or something to that effect.
Yeah. Well, look, what can we, the people, do if you're opposed to this fabricated law in New York, which this case was, and you're opposed to us going down the road of being a third world country? That's exactly what we've got here. One political opponent going after his opponent. That's what they do in third world countries. We're not a third world country, although we seem to be on that road. And so what can we do? What you can do is contribute to the Trump Legal Fund. According to Fox News last night, there was such a rush for people to go and contribute money to the Trump Legal Fund that the site crashed.
Wow.
There's such an overwhelming response that the site crashed. In time, they got it back up. At the time of the reporting last night, they said, according to what we did going on the site, the site is functional now, and no telling how many millions of dollars. And it's going to be to the tune of $10, $20, $50 donations, but millions of people are going to donate.
I did find the information. Former President Trump has indicated that he will hold a press conference this morning at 11 Eastern, so 10 o'clock our time. Fox News Radio will be providing breaking news coverage. Not sure that we'll carry that live, but you can look for him to address the nation largely about what happened yesterday. I'm thinking that he will probably explain next steps. And I think that it's a foregone conclusion that he will definitely file an appeal to all of these charges.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What do you think the possibility is, Tracy, of the Trump legal team requesting an emergency opinion from the Supreme Court?
I don't know.
I think
hadn't
it's
thought
highly
about that.
probable. I don't know if the Supreme Court takes the cases they want. There is no requirement, and there is a process that the Supreme Court goes through. I think that will be coming out pretty quickly.
And it's what constitutes an emergency too. That's going to be the big question mark. Like if you remember the Louisiana congressional maps, that was an emergency opinion because Liz Murrill pleaded with them to give some clarity because of that May 15th deadline. So that, in their opinion, met the standards for or constituted an emergency. The question here is, even if they do, will the Supreme Court consider it an emergency under, according to whatever guidelines they use?
All the constitutionality, all the legal experts I have seen, no, I take that back. I saw some on CNN and MSNBC that said, yeah, they're doing it right. This is a strong case. But most of the legal experts I heard said this is a very weak case. They are violating the Constitution on numerous counts.
No, and I agree with that. No,
right
I think it is. But you said an emergent. What constitutes an emergency?
An election 5 months from now.
Well, yeah, but will they look at it that way? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, it's just to be considered. Look, there's a lot of emotion behind this. Here's one thing we do not need. We do not need violence.
No.
That is the last thing. The people that are opposing Donald Trump, that do not like him because he's not an establishment politician, that is what they are hoping for, is for violence to break out. That will be a tool they can use against Donald Trump. It strengthens their case, and it hurts the Donald Trump cause.
KPEL News Time is 8:19.
Fox on Faith with Lauren Green.
She can only describe it as a miracle, surviving the October 7th attack, hearing Hamas gunfire break through their front door as they hide in their safe room. Eden Geffner.
There is so many terrorists in the kibbutz, because you can see that people writing in the community WhatsApp group. Now I can hear them screaming, kill the Jews.
28-year-old Eden was born and raised in Kibbutz Chaim in Israel, just 3 miles from the Gaza border. She's now telling her story of survival as part of the Faces of October 7th project, which aims to, quote, humanize the consequences of terrorism and challenge the support that terrorist organizations like Hamas have garnered. Eden laments the protests on college campuses and the rise in anti-Semitism.
I wish that all the hate that they have towards the Jewish people and towards the Israel, they just take it to Hamas, because they say they need to say free Palestine from Hamas, not free Palestine from Israel, because Hamas is holding Palestine, not us.
To hear more, go to Lighthouse Faith Podcast at foxnews.com. For Fox on Faith, Lauren Green, Fox News.
Want a relaxing way to spend some time? Louisiana's state parks are right in your own backyard. Spend the day hiking, fishing, biking, and picnicking, or stay overnight at one of our affordable cabins, campsites, or group camps. And tour a state historic site for an educational experience the whole family can enjoy. Call 1-877-226-7652 for more information, or visit www.lastateparks.com. Sponsored by the Louisiana Office of State Parks.
Celebrating 20 years of enlightening Acadiana. Moon Griffon, next on News Talk 96.5. KPEL.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5. KPEL. Right now, traffic.
All right. Looking at the roadways, we still show that accident, Camellia Boulevard, right near its intersection with Settlers Trace. That is an accident with injuries. So You probably are going to find a slowdown there. Also, Chemin Metairie Parkway just west of its intersection with, is it South La Riviere? Yes, South La Riviere Road. So be very careful in that area. Current temperature is 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 8:25 on this Friday morning, and Daniel Phillips flew in to visit with us this morning. We're going to talk weather, et cetera, et cetera. But first of all, you're flying in. And
on mosquitoes. The mosquitoes picked me up, and they carried me here to the KPEL studios.
Tell us where you were, and you said you had a good morning.
It's been a great morning.
Okay.
When we went down to Sepulveda Point, one of my favorite spots in the entire Acadiana region. I love it down there. It's so pretty. We went down there. We were talking about hurricane season. Rolled up on a bear. So that's just a great 6 start to the day. Amazing success. All parties involved.
Now the bear ran away for full
yeah.
disclosure.
Oh yeah. We turned the corner. It was incredibly dark when we got out there. We're first ones kind of out there. Turned the corner and it kind of scampered off and ran into the marsh, into the woods. Sick. Just great. Love bears. Love seeing them out there. So that was really exciting. And then I had this thought when we planned this live shot in the meeting, and it's so early. And I was like, I'm packing a picnic. So I packed my camping stove with its French press attachment, big coffee fan, also known as a snob. And I ground up my beans last night, packed them in. Yeah, me and Josh, the photographer, great cup of coffee, cinnamon rolls, sunrise.
And a bear.
And a bear. Saw an alligator too. Those are a little more common. The bear was cool. I think I'm just going to start doing this. I almost missed an entire hit. If I looked a little flustered at one point in time, it's because I was trying to get my French press done. Priorities.
I was about to say priorities.
They were interrupting my French press time for me to do my actual job. The nerve.
We're going to go ahead and take a look at some news at the bottom of the hour, and then we'll come back. And Daniel, we want to talk about 2 things. First of all, hurricane season starts tomorrow. We can't be remiss, but want to talk a little bit about these crazy storms that just seem to not be leaving us alone. So stay right where you are. We've got more to visit about with Daniel Phillips, KATC meteorologist, and it is 8:27. Did you know that Neighbors Pharmacy on Johnston Street in Lafayette offers delivery? How convenient is that? You're at work, you need a prescription refilled, you don't have time to run down to the pharmacy. It's easy, too, to switch your prescriptions over. Give them a call at 337-706-7706. But you're definitely going to want to make a trip to Neighbors Pharmacy. They're on Johnston Street, right near West Broussard. Go by and check out their wonderful line of gift items, whether it's for a graduation, a birthday, a just because. You will find serveware and tableware for hosting gatherings. Also, First Communion, baptism, and confirmation gifts. Religious items, devotional, motivational, and organizer books. Hey, you want to go to a baseball game? They've got baseball game day items, too. And does your car smell funky? Do you want to keep it smelling fresh? They've got Pura car diffusers and so much more. Go by and check it out for yourself. And when you do, ask about their compounded oral semaglutide weight loss product. It's the same ingredient that's used in other popular injectable drugs that people have used for weight loss and had so much success, but there's no needle involved. All you do is place a drop under your tongue, watch the weight melt away. You use it daily. Ask your doctor and give them a call at Neighbors Pharmacy. So many wonderful opportunities to get well and to make someone smile at Neighbors Pharmacy on Johnston Street. This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Wirtz with a look at news on this Friday, May 31st. The regular legislative session could end today, and the Gator Scholarship Program received final passage in the Senate on Thursday. In the final version of the legislation, the program will be phased in more slowly, and the amount of money each family could potentially receive has yet to be determined. Oversight and accountability of that program will fall under the purview of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. The compromise was a result of lawmakers' concern concerns about the cost of the program because the state will lose several $100 million in revenue when part of the state sales tax expires next year. The House, in a 63-28 vote, gave final passage to a measure that eliminates the regulation requiring employers to give 16 and 17-year-old employees at least a 20-minute meal break if they work at least 5 hours. The bill's author, Denham Springs Representative Roger Wilder, says it reduces the red tape for employers when they hire minors. Representative Wilder owns 19 Smoothie King franchises. The hurricane season begins tomorrow, and the long-range forecasts are calling for an extremely active season. Usually the peak of the season arrives around the middle of August and lasts until mid-September. LSU climatologist Barry Keim wouldn't be surprised if the tropics ramp up earlier than normal this year as a result of elevated water temperatures in the Atlantic Basin. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 named storms this season. Of those, 8 to 13 are predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. Lafayette police have arrested a second person in connection with the death of 70-year-old Stanford Mouton, who was shot while he was asleep in his home. 17-year-old Tremarian Anthony Thomas is charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count of principal to second-degree murder. The shooting happened on Macklin Street in Lafayette on May 21st. 27-year-old Leonce Boutte was arrested last week in connection with the case. UL students and faculty were alerted Thursday morning to stay away from the area around Bourgeois Hall after university police found the body of a black man at the bus stop. The scene is clear now, and officials say foul play is not suspected in the man's death. If you live in Lafayette or the unincorporated areas of the parish, LCG will be collecting old electronics and hazardous household waste items tomorrow morning from 8 until noon at Northgate Mall. Remember to bring your ID. For a specific list of what they will accept, you can visit our website or the KPEL app. The Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is asking for help this summer. If you see a fish kill, they're asking you to give them a call. Neighborhood ponds are prone to fish kills due to the small size and depth, and while LDWF doesn't investigate neighborhood ponds, they do keep records. Fish kills are typical this time of year due to conditions from droughts to hurricanes, but they mainly occur because of temperature and low oxygen in the water. If you see any fish kills, natural or unnatural this summer, report them to the LDWF as soon as possible. The 2024 Acadiana St. Jude Dream Home will be open this weekend. Someone will win the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house in Magnolia Trace subdivision in Broussard on June 26th. For a virtual tour and more details, visit our website or the KPEL app. Beloved quarterback Drew Brees will be inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame this year. He led the NFL in passing 7 times and broke the 5,000-yard passing barrier 5 times. He holds the NFL record for highest completion percentage in a season, highest completion percentage in a game, and is tied for the single-game passing touchdown record. The date of Drew Brees' induction into the Hall of Fame has not been announced, but some have suggested a Thursday night in October when Sean Payton returns to the Superdome as the coach of the Denver Broncos. The Ragin' Cajuns baseball team kicks off play in the NCAA Bryant College Station Regionals tonight against the Texas Longhorns. First pitch is scheduled for 5 o'clock, and you can listen to the game right here on 96.5 KPEL. That's a look at your news. I'm Tracy Wirtz.
Pack your bags. We want to send you and a guest to experience the magic of Def Leppard's Summer Stadium Rock Tour this August. We want to fly you and a guest to San Antonio, Texas, where you'll see Def Leppard, Journey, and the Steve Miller Band in concert at the one and only Alamo Dome. What do you need to do? It's simple. Just listen to News Talk 96.5 KPEL weekdays for the codes you'll need to enter. Every day between now and June 7th at 9, 12, and 3 p.m., you're going to get a code. Enter that into the KPEL app, and you've got a chance to win. You'll get 2 tickets to see Def Leppard with Journey and the Steve Miller Band at the Alamo Dome on Friday, August 16th. Round-trip airfare for 2 to San Antonio, a 2-night hotel stay, and $500 spending money. If you don't have the KPEL app, you need to download it immediately. Listen every day at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 3 p.m. for your chance to win tickets to the Summer Stadium Rock Tour with Def Leppard and Journey on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. Couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We're still showing those two major accidents with injuries. 3300 Chemin-Metairie Parkway, just west of its intersection with South La Riviere, and Camellia Boulevard near its intersection with Settlers Trace. So be careful in those areas. Also, Lexington Drive and Muir Drive showing an accident that is in Dussault. Current temperature is 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 8:38 on this Friday, May the 31st, very last day of the month, and tomorrow is hurricane season. We will get into that, but Daniel Phillips, KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips, joining us. And Daniel, the last couple of weeks, these storms that have been rolling through have been horrendous, really.
Yeah.
Is that out of the norm, or is it just that they've been more frequent?
We've kind of had I think we've got a couple different things happening.
Okay.
One, we've had a couple really quiet severe weather years in a row. So we've kind of forgotten that these are possible. And we will get pretty active this time of year anyway when it comes to severe weather. They are strong, though, and they are stronger than the normal ones that we will see. The country as a whole has had a horrific severe weather season.
Yeah.
I want to say we're close to, if not at, record pace for tornadoes in a calendar year. We've seen major tornadoes out there as well. And so I think it's that combination that makes it feel so bad. Yes, it's been a bad year, and we've had some particularly strong storms, compounded by the fact that we've had very quiet years kind of back to back. This has been... Rob and I have talked, the last couple of years about, dang, it's kind of quiet this severe weather season. We didn't have much going on in the spring. And so I think that whiplashing from nothing to above normal has really felt kind of jarring.
Are we do you think we'll be in for another weekend of that? Because you mentioned during your forecast that folks just heard about, weather aware has become the term, but you specifically mentioned watching the radar, and you can do that on your phone, of course. Do you guys, what is the national weather? So I haven't, full disclosure, I've been real busy. Haven't watched any weather. I do watch on the phone though. I catch it after.
Yeah. No, I think if we're comparing it to what we had a couple weeks ago,
right.
We're probably not going to get 80-mile-an-hour winds. Mm-hmm. But we could get some thunderstorms. We could get some warnings out there. 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds are strong, you know. I think there's this, because we live in a hurricane area, and we see major hurricanes, and we hear about 120-mile-an-hour winds, 140 in the crazy ones. With Laura was 140, 150, something like that.
Right.
We get in our head that 60 miles an hour isn't a lot, but most of us have never experienced 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
A lot of us have only experienced 60-mile-an-hour winds a couple times a year, if we even see that many.
Right.
So the peak wind gust from those big storms the other day at the airport was 79, I think.
Wow.
Now that, you got to keep in mind that we are measuring wind at a very specific point at that place in the radar. And wind is going to vary an awful lot. So 79 is what gets measured.
But that
and
may
what
be
goes
way up in
the
the
record
air,
books.
or way
well,
up
no, that will be
higher.
down at the surface, but that's at the surface at the airport where that station is.
I'll got
so
you. Okay.
At your house, it could be 80, it could be 82, something like that. But regardless, we've only had wind gusts stronger than 79 recorded at that airport once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that
goes
outside
to
of a
show,
hurricane, or that's during?
No, and those are during hurricanes.
Okay.
So that goes to show, don't turn your nose up at 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
It's still kind of intense. So I think we could see some storms that would kind of get up to 60-mile-an-hour gusts. Hail has been an issue here this year, and we could see a little bit more of that. And then, of course, the heavy downpours, little minor flooding on the roadways when the rain's coming down. I think stuff like that kind of on and off through the weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if, and we've been getting these watches. Another thing that happens is everyone becomes hyper aware of them. So the watches become a little more frequent, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a watch this afternoon, and then we just watch the radar. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple severe thunderstorms. I would be surprised, though, if we get something of the same magnitude that we had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, because and as I watch them each afternoon, they really seem to flare up quickly.
Yeah.
It's not like there's like last night we had some, and I watched that come through. But I remember one of the days that we had the really bad stuff come through. Whatever it was, that really bad cell, I know where it was there, but for whatever reason, it intensified between the time I started watching it and the time it got to us. And
those big ones
scared me.
Moving. They were, I think they were going as fast as a car down the interstate. They were hauling.
Yeah.
Which is good in the sense, it's good in the sense of, it gets out of your house pretty quickly. It gives you a little less time to brace for it. But they were moving. And we've been really, like earlier this week, we had dew points in the 80s. Where our heat index hit 114 on Monday.
That's insane.
That's
and
crazy.
It's May. Yeah.
And so that's just a ton of energy for those things to pick up on. And that's what it did. That's what we had this week. And we're still kind of dealing. The dew points are much lower out there this morning. But we've got a front, and with the front comes these little upper-level disturbances, and they're going to move across the next couple of days.
Well, and Lafayette Mayor President Monique Blanco-Boulay was on Wednesday, and we talked a lot about this because debris pickup is you're going to see that go faster here. They've got another contractor coming in, but she cautioned folks because she said that was 70 or 80 mile an hour winds or whatever it was during those storms. She said for a very protracted amount of time, so not very long. She said, imagine that over hours for a hurricane.
I told that to my wife when those big ones came through. First, it's the first time I've gone to a stairwell since Hurricane Dennis when I was in high school.
Really?
Which I don't recommend. You always have to remember, listen to what I tell you. Don't ever follow my example. I'm a bit of an idiot. But I will always pull up the radar. Like to think I know what I'm looking at, and I can kind of make my judgment. But those ones, I was like, yeah, let's go to the stairwell. But I kept the blinds open because I wanted to see.
Right.
And I remember at one point in time, I said, look outside. That's a hurricane. And now imagine that for 2 hours. And my wife was like, we evacuate.
Yeah.
I'm not staying for this.
No, right.
So, if you have never been through a hurricane before, and you're thinking about riding it out, and those storms a couple weeks ago terrified you, you do not need to stay here for that.
Well, and she brought up another good point during that discussion because she said Lafayette, not Acadiana, but Lafayette has not taken a direct hit in years.
Yeah, it's been a long
years,
time.
And so, and she specifically mentioned, she said, look at Lake Charles, look at what happened there. And Laura was what, a 2?
Oh no, Laura was a 4.
Okay, it was a 4.
Laura was a 4. What was the one after that?
Delta
was a 2.
Okay, that's
Delta was a 2. Laura was a 4, and it's like I tell people: the only reason Laura didn't hit us was luck, divine intervention,
right.
Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you subscribe to, that is the reason it didn't hit us.
Right.
There's no scientific reason why that couldn't happen here. We are not protected by anything special here. And we're getting, it's that time of year. It starts tomorrow.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that coming up. We're going to take a quick break though and be right back. KPEL News Time is 8:46.
Mostly cloudy skies across Acadiana today. Highs getting to about 83 degrees with winds from the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We've got a 70% chance for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms out there through the afternoon. A couple strong, possibly severe thunderstorms, so keep an eye on that radar as the rumbles of thunder start to pop up. We will get a break overnight tonight before a return of the active weather again tomorrow. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We have still showing those major accidents. Chemin Metairie just west of South La Riviere and Camellia Boulevard near its intersection with Settlers Trace. Again, those are accidents with injuries. So they definitely may be causing slowdowns this morning. Current temperature on this Friday, 72 degrees. KPEL News Time is 8:50 on this Friday, May 31st. KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips in with us this morning. And Daniel, we got to talk about hurricane season because it's tomorrow. And as I was writing the story for the news this morning, I thought, you know, we every year we tell people prepare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I always hope that it doesn't fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially after the last, you always get this surge in attention after major years, which
Right.
we had 4 years ago. There's a thing
2020,
called
yeah.
weather amnesia, and studies show after like 5 years, people start to forget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's next year,
Yeah.
so we're pretty close to the end of that. Couple quiet years here, couple quiet years there, and all of a sudden you forget what is possible. But I hope people listen. And we do this we have the same message every year.
Yep.
No matter what the forecast. The forecast for this year is a bit sobering. But we have the same message every year. You've got to get ready for the season, like
Yeah.
we always do June 1st.
And I think about my husband when we go to the store, if something's on sale or whatever, he's a big proponent. You know, we both are saving money. He's like, okay, buy extra of this because, and these are his words, it's not going to go bad.
Right.
So, I mean, batteries may eventually, but if you get to the end of the hurricane season and you don't use them, then you just use them in something else.
And now's the time to do it too, because you don't want, like, everything happens so fast. And the way my household does it is we have thresholds. At this threshold, we do these A, B, and C. And then we get to the next threshold. At the next threshold, we do A, B, and C. So we want as much stuff done as possible so that when we get to threshold A, we're already moving through our checklist of
Well, you're going to
prepping-
have to
prepping
share
house,
that
prepping
checklist
this.
with us, by the way. Now, let's talk about the NOAA forecast, because when I see that and they talk about you probably have the numbers in your head. 17 to 25 named storms, 8 to 13 predicted to become hurricanes, and 4 to 7 to become major hurricanes. My first question is, how do they arrive at those specific numbers? Do you know?
There is everyone's got their own like secret sauce, but they are looking at current conditions, what is expected down the line in regards to El Nino, La Nina, and then they use a lot of climatology. What has happened in the past that can inform us of the future? How does this compare to other seasons? How does the Atlantic look compared to 2005? How does this La Nina year look compared to 2006 or 7? And then they kind of come up with their numbers. They have their own formulas and stuff that they use. But that's what they're looking at. They're looking at what is going on right now and try and compare that to seasons past.
Okay, so when you look at the NOAA or Colorado, is NOAA and Colorado State the same? Or
No, they're two different forecasts. Colorado State's done by a guy named Dr. Klotzbach,
Yes.
who's done this for years. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
And really, really smart, really, really on top of this stuff. And he said these were the highest he has ever forecasted for.
Okay, so when they do these forecasts, though, they're talking about the entire Atlantic basin. So, I think people need to put that in perspective, because when you look at last year, it wasn't a bad hurricane season. Well, it may not have been, but how did their broad forecast bear out?
Last year was a weird year because and this is going to be so tough to say going into June because I don't want everyone to, take their foot off the gas here. But so last year something happened, and I think it was we were in our third La Nina in a row, and then we transitioned to El Nino. We had that major drought, and it was a quiet year overall, and I think that they were expecting a bit more activity. Now they kind of changed their numbers halfway through, and they do that every year. They amend their numbers halfway through the season. But it was a quieter year last year, but some were kind of caught by surprise. And that's going to happen. That's forecasting. Most of the time, though, they're on. But like you said, this is not a prediction of where the storms will be. This is not a prediction of when the storms will be. We could have 23 major hurricanes, and if they all happen in the Atlantic, no one cares.
Yeah, right. No, they don't. Right.
And that, fingers crossed. But the problem is, the more hurricanes are out there, the higher chance you have of it coming here.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, and that's just averages, I guess, the law of averages. But I shared on our website a side-by-side picture of what the water temperature was in 2005 and what it is now. And it is, I think it was from the National Hurricane Center or national, some credible source, and it was shocking.
It's a word that gets used a lot, unprecedented. We've set records month after month after month. Virginia Key in Florida was recording 90-degree water already. They broke the minimum recorded temperature that day was higher than the maximum record. So we're almost in a different world, different state entirely. And that's why those numbers are so high. That's why everyone's kind of really holding their breath.
And those water temperatures are in the Gulf, a lot of them,
from the Gulf through the Caribbean into the Atlantic. We've seen the Atlantic Basin has been August hot, which is wild to think about. So that it's the water temperatures and it's the onset of La Nina, which it's transitioning to now. It's the reason why the numbers are so high.
Yeah, and remember we mentioned, and Daniel, I learned this from Daniel and Dave, that hot water is their juice.
It's the fuel.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the spark, but it's the gasoline that goes into a fire.
Yeah, which could not bode well for us. So get the plan together now, and I'm going to make Daniel make me a list of his thresholds and his list of things to do from a meteorologist perspective. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. God bless.
Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The personal consumption expenditures index for April rose 0.3%, and core PCE, excluding food and energy, rose by 0.2%. For the year ending in April, the PCE rose 2.7%, and core PCE, excluding food and energy, rose 2.8%. Both matched March's readings. Also, Americans made more in April. Personal incomes rose 0.3%, but personal spending rose just 0.2%. People are still buying from Costco. Its sales at existing stores were up 6% in the recent quarter. Earnings topped forecasts, but Wall Street was expecting a stronger revenue number. Costco did not reveal plans to raise its annual membership fee. Costco has not changed it since 2017. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.